Welcome back to the Wargrove of Will, and today we're going to be talking about the Hedonites of Slannesh Battleline options. Next up we have the Bliss Barb Archers. They're your standard foot archer unit. They have a stat line of 6-inch move, 6 bravery, 1 wound, and a 6-up save. Their melee profile is okay, being the Cyberite Blade, 1-inch reach, 1 attack, 4s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. Their missile profile is a little bit better, being the Bliss Barb Bow, 18-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3 for the leader, 4s to hit, 4s to wound, 1 rend, and 1 damage. Now, 1 and 11 must be a Bliss Brew Homunculus. If you look in the photo, he's that little dude hiding under the cauldron. He only has access to the sword, and he gives the unit +1 to their wound rolls. Additionally, Bliss Barb Archers can run and shoot natively. So their battlefield role is they're there to pelt the enemy with a lot of arrows. They're good against lightly armored targets, and they have pretty good mobility. So you can kind of skirt them around the target, or skirt around their target wherever you need them to be, as well as flank enemies and just have good mobility, as with most things at Slannesh. If you're wanting to take Bliss Barb Archers, I would take in squads of 11 to 22. Next up we have Demonets. These are your standard demon infantry. They have a stat line of 6-inch move, 10 bravery, 1 wound, and a 5-up save. Their melee attacks are piercing claws, 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3 for the leader, 4s to hit, 4s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. Their unique ability is they have a native run and charge. They can 1 in 10 can have a horn, which makes enemies within 6 reroll battle shock tests of 1. And then 1 in 5 can have a banner or an icon. The banner gives them rerolling charge rolls, and the icon lets them bring back d6 models on battle shock rolls of 1, just like most, if not all, demon infantry. So these guys' role is they're an offensive melee unit. I've seen them used to great effectiveness for screening in small numbers, and they are really fast. They're good mobility because they can run and charge, and they're scary. They can do some pretty nasty stuff if you get them going. If you're wanting to use them offensively, take in squads of 20 to 30. If you're just wanting screens, take in a unit of 10. Next up, we have the Hellstrider of Slannesh with Claw Spear. So this is one of the 2 cavalry variants that Slannesh has access to, and I personally think that this is the better one. The stat line is 14-inch move, 6 bravery, 2 wounds, and a 4-up save. Their melee profile is the Claw Spear, which is 1-inch reach, 1 attack, 2 for the leader, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. Their mount has Poisoned Tongue, 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. 1 in 5 can have the banner, which gives reroll charge rolls. 1 in 5 can have an icon, which gives +2 bravery, and 1 in 5 can have a horn, which has the same effect as the Demonets horn, which makes enemies reroll battle shock within 6 inches. What makes these guys interesting is they get +1 damage to their claw spear if they make a charge move, and that's pretty valuable, I think. So their battlefield role is they are a good shock cavalry. You can screen with them. And what you're really wanting to do with these guys is charge lightly armored infantry or lightly defended areas where you can probably wipe out whatever you're charging within the first melee combat, because you really want to take use of that 2 damage on their weapons for the charge, and then get out of combat so you can charge again the next turn. They're really there to hit fast, hit hard, and that's it. You don't really want them in melee combat all that long. To maximize their efficientness, take in squad sizes of 5 because they don't have long reach weapons, and so they don't scale very well. Next up is the Hell Scourge variant of the Hellstrider. It has a stat line of 14-inch move, 6 bravery, 2 wounds, and a 4-up save. The only difference here really is the Hell Scourge. It's a different melee weapon. It has 3-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3 for the leader, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. The poison tongue is the same, the banner is the same, the icon is the same, and the horn is the same, but they are -1 to hit them if they make a charge roll. So instead of getting that +1 to damage on the charge, they get a -1 to hit them. So they're a little bit more defensive, but you can kind of pick and choose which of the two variants you prefer. They're a good Skirmish Cav. So instead of Shock Cav, they're Skirmish Cav. They want to they can stick in combat a little bit longer because their value doesn't decrease as much after they finish their charge. Their Scourge has a lot more attacks than the Spear variant. So if you're wanting something to be fast and hit the enemy in places they weren't expecting and then stick there, this is probably your better option. They can also work as screens in small units. Personally, I would take them in squad sizes of 5, but since their weapons have very long reach, you can scale them up into larger units well enough. They're not going to be hindered by being in a large unit. Next up, we have the conditional battle lines of Slannesh. First up are the Myrdish Painbringers. I think these guys are probably my favorite of the Battleline options, partially just because the models look so cool and they're really unique for Slannesh. It's kind of something I wasn't expecting going into this video, but they have a stat line of 6-inch move, 7 bravery, 2 wounds, and a 4-up save. They have Wicked Scimitars, 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3 for the leader, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. And their unique abilities are they have 6s to wound, deal 1 mortal wound in addition to everything else, as well as +1 to save for melee attacks that target them. So this is a fantastic elite infantry choice. They are preferably targeted, or their preferred target is armored units with their rend as well as the mortal wounds. They're going to be really efficient at taking those down. As well as all of that, they're really tanky for a Slannesh unit. In melee, having a 3-up save without going into like Mystic Shield for your stacking and stuff, that's really powerful. They are a little bit slow by Slannesh standards, having no native run and charge or anything of that nature, only the 6-inch move, but that's okay. I think they're a great unit for what they do. If you're maximizing these guys, I would take in minimum squad sizes of 5 and just have multiple of them. They don't really work well in large units because their weapons don't have a good reach. And the way I see them is they work great as auxiliaries or something that you can support the rest of your army with, and have them kind of be the heavy hitters or the things to either get rid of armored enemies or take a lot of hits. So they're pretty interesting. I personally love them. I think the models are very gorgeous. Next up, we have the Seeker Chariot. For these guys, you must take the Seeker or God Seekers subfaction for them to do battle line. Their stat line is 12-inch move, 10 bravery, 6 wounds, and a 4-up save. They have a lot of melee profiles, and they're all really powerful, or at least pretty good. The Flensing Whip, 2-inch reach, 4 attacks, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. Piercing Claws, 1 attack, or excuse me, 1-inch reach, 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. And then they have the Seeker Poisoned Tongues of 1-inch reach, 4 attacks, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. Interestingly enough, they can retreat and charge, and then this in combination with their damage on the charge, where they can deal D3 mortal wounds on a 2-up after they charge. It gives them a really unique function in a Slannesh army, which we'll go over soon. So they are a pretty nasty chariot. They have a lot of killing power and they're fast and flexible. You can take them in squad sizes of 3 at max for a double reinforced. And they are fantastic cycle charging units because you can retreat and then you can charge again and get that charge damage without having to waste a turn not charging. So I don't think there's a wrong way in terms of taking them in squad sizes. I think you could take them in 1 to 3 and be fine. The more models you have in the unit, the more value you're going to get out of that cycle charging aspect. So if that's a playstyle you want to do where you want to hit them fast and just kind of run over them, quote unquote, and then turn back around and hit them again with your lawnmower chariot, this is a great unit for that. You can um, get a lot of those mortal wounds off. So if your enemy has high saves and no ward, this is going to be great for you. Because you could potentially get 3d3 mortal wounds off every charge. So I think these are a great unit. I don't know if they're very popular. I don't tend to see them in lists wherever I play, but I think they could work great if the chariot style of play is what you want to go for. And last but not least, we have the Symbaresh Twin Souls. So similar to the Painbringers, you must have a Lord of Pain General. They have a stat line of 8-inch move, 7 bravery, 2 wounds, and a 4-up save. Their melee profile is Merciless Blades, where they have 2-inch reach, 3 attacks, 4 for the leader, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 2 damage. Their unique ability is interesting, where in the hero phase, you must pick one of the 2 abilities listed below to be in effect for the rest of that turn. You can either reroll hit rolls, or you can give them a 5+ ward. So for their battlefield role, I would consider them comparable to Painbringers. These guys work best against light infantry or lightly armored targets because they don't have rend, but they do a lot of damage. They are flexible in being offensive or defensive. Being able to kind of switch gears in a situation that you need them in is very powerful. They are faster than average for Slannesh foot units. They don't have that run and charge ability or anything like that. So I would think them as a faster version of a Painbringer. To maximize the efficientness of these twin souls, you can take them in squads of 10 to 15. I think that they work best in those large units because you can stack buffs and you can just eviscerate most things that come at you. Fantastic unit, and I think they have a lot of potential just in their versatility. And that is the Hedonites of Slannesh. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment. And if you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing. I try to put out a video once every day or once every other day, depending on my college schedule. And if you have a suggestion for a future video or concept you'd like me to cover, please leave it down in the comments below. This has been the Wargover Will, and I'll see you guys next time.